Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Adam Evans, and I manage our community webinars here at ArcXP. I'm excited to welcome you to today's webinar, Building Community Through Engagement. Before we start, I'd like to go through a couple of housekeeping items just to make sure everyone feels comfortable with the interface and has a good viewing experience. So the first thing is at the bottom of your screen, you'll see some blue-green widgets that allow you to customize your viewing options. Feel free to click around those and make sure you can bring up what you need and what you'd like to see. The primary widgets that are on your screen, so my video and the slides and the Q&A box, they're movable and adjustable, resizable, so be sure to move those around or maximize or minimize those to suit your preferences as well. So feel free to take this time to get comfortable and settle in. We are recording today's session, so you'll receive an on-demand version after the webinar. If you're having any trouble seeing or hearing the presentation at any time, just refresh your screen and log back in. We'll be here when you're ready. Also, we want to hear from you and have this be as interactive a conversation as possible. So take advantage of the Q&A tool that's on your screen. We can see your questions and we'll definitely get them answered, whether it's during the Q&A or a direct follow-up afterwards. So feel free to populate the Q&A throughout the presentation, and we will have a Q&A session at the end. I also wanted to go over a few upcoming events from ArcXP. So take a look at the list here where we will be live and in person over the next couple of weeks. Specifically, if you'll be at INMA or the Piano Academy Live, feel free to reach out to Marissa Cole. Her email address is here on the screen. We'd love to know that you'll be there and arrange a time to get together just so we don't miss each other. So feel free to let us know that you'll be there. And I want to call special attention to Art Connect London on October 10th. So this is shaping up to be one of our biggest events of the year. We should have a link on your screen to learn a little bit more about this. So if you're in London or near London or can get to London, we'd love to have you there. Also, the link has a full day's agenda as well as our speakers. We have lots of sessions and panels and all sorts of things that are relevant to the industry. So feel free to check that out, and we hope to see you live in London. All right. Without further ado, oh, no, before we get started, I also wanted to poll our attendees a little bit. So this is just to kind of take a temperature of our attendees today and get a feel for what you think is relevant. So which of the following do you think is the most important factor in building a strong, engaged community in today's media landscape? So consistent and relevant content, the ability for your readers to provide feedback, innovative ways for your readers to engage with your content, personalized experiences, or something else. So go ahead and take a minute to click into or select your answer there. Obviously, all of these are relevant, but relevant right now for the industry or for your business. And we'll get a sense here of what people are thinking. So go ahead and choose your option. We have a few responses coming in. Give it another second or two. All right, let's take a look at the results. So kind of a mixed bag here. Consistent and relevant content, innovative ways, personalized experiences. Yeah, no strong leader. So the good news is that you're going to be hearing about all of these from today's speaker and hear how one of our clients has prioritized or hasn't necessarily prioritized one over the other, but has found good results from a mixture of these. So let's jump into the main event. It's my honor to introduce Marc Gendron. He's the publisher of Les Soleil and the principal director in digital growth of Les Coops de l'Information. He's led the CMS transition project of Les Coops to the ArcXP digital platform experience. And today, he's going to share how they've increased their user engagement through some pretty interesting but very approachable methods. So Marc, welcome and take it away.
Well, hello. Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks to the ARC community for giving me this opportunity. to make this presentation that I pompously called Building Community Through Engagement and Vice Versa. First thing first, let me introduce myself. So Adam just named me, but my name is Marc Gendron, and I've been a journalist for close to 20 years now. But I spent most of these years as a newsroom leadership role. For the past few years, I've been in charge of our audience and subscriptions growth operations. And since last November, I'm also the publisher of Le Soleil, the media that serves the wonderful region of Quebec City. I was also at the helm of the team that worked on integrating ARC and developing our new platforms with the help of our partners from Wiseline. Now, don't be shy. You can add me on LinkedIn, but I will only accept you after the webinar. That would be a little weird if I did otherwise. So what are Les Coops de l'Information? As the name implies, we are a cooperative, employee-owned local news group covering 6 regions of Quebec and French-speaking Ontario. Our 6 medias, Le Droit, Le Nouvelliste, Le Quotidien, Le Soleil, La Tribune, et La Voix de l'Est, have all been founded between 130 and 90 years ago. In 2019, after our previous owner got to the brink of bankruptcy, the employees got together and formed a cooperative that took the helm of our news group. The newly formed co-op's business plan included launching digital subscriptions, and we did so in November 2020. We added to the mix Jeux d'Esprit, a game site only offered to our subscribers, as well as Les As de l'Info, a free youth-oriented news site less than 2 years ago. So now, let me tell you about some of the projects we realized and things we've discovered over the past few years in order to success in our digital transition. Full disclaimer here, it's not a masterclass. It's not a sales pitch of any kind. It's more a recollection of things we tested and that we discovered that contributed to our success in building a strong and highly engaged community of subscribers and users. So, in April 2023, we switched to ARC XP and launched new websites and apps. That gave us the necessary momentum to take one of the most important steps in our digital transition. On December 31st, 2023, so only 9 months ago, with the publication of our last print edition, we switched from a print-first to a digital-only media group. We had already reduced our print operations in the early days of COVID-19. At that time, we stopped publishing 6 days a week, only to keep our Saturday editions. But completely ceasing print was one of the most important, if not emotional, milestones of our digital journey, a milestone that we had to be prepared for. One discovery: it's always a good idea to listen to your community. You might have good ideas, but best ones comes from your users. Ceasing print was a challenge in itself for many reasons. We knew that we would leave behind some of the things that made our glory days. The saddest part was that we knew that we would lose some of our most loyal readers who did not have access to digital devices. But there was also another thing that worried us. A quarter of our digital subscribers had a plan that included the print edition. By abandoning print, we were risking to lose them or to see them choose a lower subscription plan. Both scenarios would have had a huge impact on our subscription revenues. So we turned to our subscribers to get inspiration on how to convince them to keep their subscriptions active. With the help of customer services, we identified recurring requests and comments that inspired 2 new perks: an automatically generated daily e-paper and an ads-free plan. The results: by adding these 2 new advantages, we were able to keep around 95% of these subscribers in the highest subscription plan. We also were able to convince about 1/3 of legacy subscribers that had complimentary digital access to resubscribe to a digital plan. We did so by giving them a longer free trial period in order to make them discover the full value of our digital experience. This also contributed to the increase of our average revenue per subscriber. Well, as you can see on the slide, our ARR augmented up by 8.4% between January and August 2024. These are really incredible numbers. Another realization that we made: we should always involve the community when elaborating ideas. We are building products for them, so why not build the products with them? When we launched our platforms in April 2023, we shook things up for our users. If the user experience on our websites felt similar to what we had before, the mobile app experience was completely different. We chose to launch a WebView app at first, but rapidly realized that in order to fully exploit the potential of the app, we had to go with a fully native experience. Again, we listened to our users' comments in order to design the features that we wanted our apps to have. But this time, we went a step further. We created a group of around 100 beta testers, some tech-savvy and some not, some subscribers, some former subscribers, and some that were barely reading the news. They thoroughly tested the different iterations of the upcoming version of the app. Their comments fed the development roadmap and helped the mobile team from Wiseline to debug the app. The results? Well, our app launch went smoothly and without major issues. That version also had highly requested new features, as a dark mode, the ability to change the font size, smoother and faster navigation. But the real highlight of this new version was the addition of a swiping feature that allowed readers to easily navigate from an article to another, just as if they were flipping through the pages of a newspaper. The results? Recirculation increased between 24 and 41% to reach 89% for subscribers of some of our medias. Total engagement time and number of quality page views also increased by 30% month over month. Another word of wisdom: you have to engage with your community. For too long, we had a one-way relationship with our audiences. We wrote, they read. We talked, they listened. When Meta banned news content on Facebook in Canada, we felt it at first like a menace, but it became some kind of an opportunity. What if instead of giving a lecture, we had a conversation with the very people we are doing journalism for? That's when we decided to implement a commenting section on our platforms. With the help of Via Fora, we launched in May 2024 a comment section at the bottom of the articles on our websites. We also added the possibility of opening polls inside articles, and just last week, we added the commenting feature in our apps. The results? Well, the number of monthly comments increased by 42.5% since May. And since the deployment inside the app just a week ago, it increased by 66%. Commenting also helped us boost free account creation and first-party data collection, as it is required to have a free user account in order and to be connected in order to comment the articles. The Facebook ban showed us that we had to retake full ownership of the relation we had with the people we serve. It made us realize that we did not have a lot of control on the most important acquisition channels that we had, search and social. We were always one change in algorithm away, or one unilateral decision short of seeing a large part of our incoming traffic decrease or disappear. And with the possibility of also seeing Google hide news content on its search engine, we had to act fast in order to create a direct communication channel with the users that were coming from these traffic sources. That's when we launched a soft conversion paywall. Using Pool's dynamic and flexible paywall features, we deployed a non-blocking paywall that invited all users coming from search and social to sign up for our free evening newsletters. The results? The number of readers signed up to the evening newsletter Le Résumé du Soir increased by 126% between September 2023 and April 2024. In the first 3 months of this initiative, we gained as much unique signups as we did in the previous 3 years that we've launched this newsletter. And as we all know, newsletters are an incredible tool to build loyalty and habit, which are the gateway to conversion. With the incredible amount of digital contents available nowadays, it's essential to be able to surface and highlight the most engaging and most valuable contents. You probably know it. Recommending most popular contents is a safe bet. But we wanted to test something else. why not recommend the most engaging content? And that's what we did. We leveraged Chartbeat's recommendation engine in order to create a content surfacing blocks titled Les Plus Captivants, which means the most captivating. And it proposes the contents that has the highest average engagement time. The results, the articles shown on that content recommendation block had a click-through rate of up to 20% during the period of time that we measured its impact. And the recommended contents saw their average engagement time increase by 88%, showing that the readers had found real interest in these contents, that these recommendations were really valuable to them. We will keep on experimenting with the recommendation engine blocks, changing its position, adding it to article templates so it can propose related contents, and testing its other available ranking metrics like engaged page views or subscribed engaged time. Experimenting with it is quite easy now because Wiseline made the recommendation engine available as a content source, whether in Page Builder or in outbound feeds. So kudos to ArcXP users. You probably know these two applications, which are part of the ArcXP suite. Using digital tools and channels to communicate with the people we serve is at the core of our success. But there is still a high value in engaging directly with them in community events. Our regular print editions may be gone, but we still produce a business-oriented magazine that we print and distribute for free. The highlight of this operation is the events that we organize to launch each of these editions. These events, where we can meet and greet with readers, subscribers, and partners, keep on growing and allow us to stay grounded. It also allows us to see the direct impact that our work has on the lives and activities of the members of our community. And it always helps us replenish our ideas tank and motivation. Before jumping to your questions, some final thoughts. And it's longer than I thought for this person, so it's extensive final thoughts. I'm probably not the first one to say this, but the hardest part of a digital transition is not changing the tech infrastructure or adopting new tools. No, the hardest part is changing our mindset. To be able to change this mindset, it requires humility. Our community comes first. If you don't meet their needs, their interests, you're doomed. If you think that they don't understand your work, it's you that does not understand your own work. Never assume anything. You have idea? Test it. Target the users that you think should be interested and test your ideas with them. Build and iterate on their feedback. Digital is never a finished product. It's an ongoing process. There is no finish line. There are only stations along the way. Listen to what your community tells you, whether explicitly through direct conversation or implicitly through data and behavior analysis. Abandon your own habits, your traditional workflows, to embrace the user's habits. Meet them where they are, when they are available. Tell your stories the way it's going to have the biggest impact on your community's lives. Be specific. You can't please everyone at the same time. Your community is a constellation of communities formed out of individuals with different needs, different lives, and different habits. Create your content and your delivery strategy with a specific persona in mind. Then, evaluate the results of your work. Did it have an impact on your targeted audience? How did they react to it? What could you do better next time? Finally, here's a small tool we created to help us take better informed decisions. It can be used for editorial, product, marketing, and whatnot. It's called the 5 W's of targeted audience. It's loosely inspired by the traditional 5 W's of journalism. First, who? Who is it for? Who are you trying to reach with your story? Who is your product or campaign trying to reach? What? What is their need or interests? What are their pain points? What are their potential gains? What questions do they ask themselves? And what would satisfy them? What product, what form of storytelling should you serve them in order to meet their needs? Where? Where can I engage with them? What channel of communication should be used to get in touch with them? Is it through social, push, a newsletter? Should you format your story to be optimized for mobile view if the user you target are specifically on mobile? When? When is my audience available? Page space used to be our limit. Attention and availability of the audiences is now the limit. Respect their time. Meet them when they are available and receptive. A mother of 2 children is a lot less available early in the morning than a retired university teacher. Choose your publishing schedule wisely. Finally, why? Why should they engage with my story or my product? Why should they care about it? What impact will it have on their lives? Will they read it or forget it? Or will it stick with them, inspire them, shake them? Will it be useful to them? You can even ask yourself, why are you actually doing it for them? So what now? Well, since the launch of our digital subscription plans, our subscription revenues have grown steadily. It now represents an important part of our revenues mix. We can be proud of what we accomplished. Our subscriptions penetration rate per household is better than the industry's median. Our retention rate is amongst the best in the industry. The conversion rates that we have at every stage of the funnel are impressive. But there is no way that we're going to sit on it. In order to achieve sustainability, we have to keep on innovating, to keep on delivering value to our community, to keep the conversation going with them. So what's next? With the help of ARC's AI editor, we intend on testing a large scale the addition of an audio version of our articles. The sample test that we did last summer showed us that there is a huge appetite for audio. And using a tool that is baked in our CMS is going to simplify things. We also have a high interest in ARC's upcoming micro experiences that would allow us to create tailor-made user experiences for different groups on our platforms. We already have begun a journey towards this experience personalization, sorry, that one is a hard one to say, with our ads-free plan. But we know that there is so much more that we could do. And we have many more ideas that I won't share with you today because I don't want to scoop anybody. All inspired by our community's engagement to keep on moving forward. So I can't end this presentation without saying a heartfelt thank you to our own community of dedicated employees and partners, to the editorial, advertisement, customer services, IT, marketing, and management team of Les Coops that constantly has to learn how to master new tools and reinvent themselves, to our digital growth team that is never taking anything for granted, to our partners from ArcXP, Wiseline, Pool, Viafura, Dracar, and many other service providers that help us make our vision come to life. And to all of you for listening to me today, thank you.
Amazing. Thanks, Marc. And thank you for pronouncing all of these names with such eloquence. I feel I butchered them at the beginning with my American accent. But
I butchered most of my presentation to speaking English. So thanks for bearing with me.
No, very good. All right. Well, anyone, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A section now. We're going to get to all of your questions. We have a few that have come in. So Marc, I'm going to start rattling them off here. So back to the commenting and adding the commenting function to your site. Yeah. Do you do any sort of commenting management or review, or do you have any sort of community guidelines that you recommend for your readers?
Well, absolutely. One of the reasons why we decided to choose Viafura as this service provider was the fact that they were also offering a moderation service. And Viafura is a fellow Canadian company. Their moderation team is largely based in Montreal. So they're fully capable of understanding French language and managing French comments. So for us, it was really reassuring to partner with them because we wanted to maintain a high standard and a high quality of exchanges and comments on our platforms. And we didn't have the manpower to monitor every comment on ourselves. So there's many layers of content moderation. There's an automatic moderation process that is ongoing by the help of VFRO's platform. Then VFRO's team can always review the comments if they're flagged, and they're monitoring the comments that are shared on our platforms. And then internally, we can also add another layer of moderation. But what we encourage our journalists to do internally is not only to moderate comment, but it's to participate in the conversation with the users, with the readers, because it can be extremely rewarding. You can learn a lot of things from them. It's the best way to see if your work is resonating with the people that you're trying to engage with.
Gotcha. Perfect. Great use of a partner as well. Okay, the next question is regarding moving away from your print edition. So did you receive any sort of pushback when you did that, when you made that change? And then how did you communicate that change in strategy to your readers?
Well, I wouldn't say that we've received pushback, and it's, I think it all comes from preparation. You know, we announced early, like 9 months before we stopped our print operations, that we were about to stop print. And as I said, in the 3 years before, we had already reduced the amount of print editions from 6 a week to only 1 a week. So I would say that people were prepared. But as I said, and I mentioned it in my presentation, we knew that there would be some people that wouldn't have access to digital, whether it's no access to digital devices, no access to internet, or no interest at all in switching to digital. We've heard some stories about people saying, well, my mother has been a subscriber for like 40 years to Le Soleil, as an example, and now she's sad to see you leave. But our argument, and we felt heartbroken because of that, but still, what was important for us was to maintain the mission and to maintain the quality of content that we were delivering. Print or digital, it's only the support onto which this content and this relationship with the community comes to life. The fact was that for us, maintaining print longer was unsustainable. There was no sign that at one point print would become a profitable operation again, and it was getting harder and harder for us to maintain the distribution channels of print. So we took, I think, the best decision at the moment, but all comes with communication. If you can exchange with your community, prepare them about, yes, we're going to change, but the quality of content will remain. So I would say that this is the essential part.
For sure. And then the next question is around the audio test that you mentioned that you have kind of plans for. Can you share more about the audio test you did and the results that you saw?
Yes, we did test like in two phases. At first, we've used another tool which wasn't baked in the AI editor suite of ArcXP. And at that time, what we did, we had to convert the text into an audio file and then integrate it into a video player on our platforms. And every time we did so, we had like a really huge engagement. The number of listens or plays of these audio tapes were really high. But it was a handmade, heavy process that wasn't just sustainable in the long run. So last summer, we were participating to the AI editor beta tests, and some of the most anticipated feature that we wanted to test was exactly that one of automatically converting a text into an audio file. And when we did, every time we did, there was like a huge uplift in the numbers of views of this article and listens. So now what we want to do in a third phase is to conduct other tests with audio conversion, but really be able to monitor exactly how many plays and what impact it had on the overall engagement. Because we know that some of our most engaged readers are really keen in listening to content, whether they have to do something else at the same time, or maybe their vision is getting impaired because they're getting older, and I can relate to that. So we do think that there's something that we can tap on with the audio feature.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I'm just glad to hear that you guys are using the AI editor. Obviously, you and your organization participated in our beta program this past year, but the AI editor is now a feature that we offer for anyone. So for those on the call, if you haven't used it or haven't engaged with it, definitely check out our AI editor tool and reach out to your account manager if you have any questions about that. But regarding the AI editor, we do have another question in here just about AI in general. Beyond the audio, do you have plans to use AI for anything else in your strategy?
Absolutely. I do think that AI can help us a lot with the discoverability of our contents. I'll give you one example. We're using tags to identify our content. So the contents are placed in specific sections, but we also add other tags to help a user navigate through our content and say, okay, this content is related to that topic and all. But currently, it's human editors, journalists themselves, or people from the editor's desk that are going to add tags. And we have a long list of available tags. And I would say that most of the time, we always add the same like 10 or 20 tags because that's the ones that come to our minds rapidly. With the use of AI editor, we could like scan the content using the AI editor and it will suggest relative or interesting tags that could be added. Probably tags that a human editor or a person that is involved in the content creation wouldn't have thought of. So we do think that it's an opportunity for us to test in the future and to see how much yield it's gonna give us back.
Awesome. Yeah, AI is definitely something, hot topic, right? Something everyone's experimenting with and trying to figure out what works best. So that's great to hear what your strategy is. And then you also mentioned micro experiences. So for those on the who are listening in that haven't heard of micro experiences, it's a new feature set that we're offering. We're in beta right now. So Marc, sounds like you guys have been participating in that. Can you share more specifics about some of those tailor-made user experiences that you've used micro experiences for?
Well, the one that we've tested wasn't built with micro experiences, but it serves as a baseline for what we think we could achieve with micro experiences. So currently, people who subscribe to our highest subscription plan have an ads-free experience. And this calls for some tweaks on the front end for the front end not to call ads to show on the web page or inside the app. With micro experience, and it works. But it's only like you're subscribed to this plan or not, and that's how it's managed. What we think we could achieve with the micro experiences is to show a different home page according to a user's level of engagement. So if you're a flyby, we will probably show you like the most popular contents because that's what you're probably looking for. And for us, we're trying to hook you and to give you something that you could like wrap your mind around, read through, and maybe offer you the opportunity to read a second piece, and then you're moving along the funnel. But if you're a highly engaged, connected user or subscriber, maybe there's some contents that you don't want to read, and we want to highlight the most engaging content, just like we tested with the content recommendation engine. So micro experiences would allow us to do this.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, glad to hear it. You guys are being so innovative in so many ways. All right, we have one more question. So if you have any final questions, feel free to get those in. But you had mentioned talking about sort of the transition, the hardest part not being necessarily all the technology and the strategy that goes into it, but about the mindset. So could you talk a little bit about the culture shift that you have had to make internally in your organization? How did that work? What did that look like? What were some challenges you came across, and how did you ultimately push through?
Just like a digital transition, changing habits, changing a mindset is something which is never completed. You always have to work on that. Where humans are creatures of habits. We've learned to do things in a certain way. We're efficient in a certain way. And when there's like a major shift, just like the one we went through by stopping print and only distributing on digital, well, you have to reevaluate what you're doing and change it. One of the things that was the hardest for us was that we've learned to manage our content, to curate it, and to publish it for the next morning's edition, because that's always what we did. So it wasn't really the user's availability, the user's interest, or even the topic that decided when to publish the content. It was the really rigid industrial process of having to deliver your print edition on the doorstep of your subscriber by 6 in the morning. So we had to cast back our creation process all the way back to make sure that we were meeting that deadline. So now this is completely gone, but it's for some people in our business, even in our own company, it's hard to abandon this really reassuring way. Okay, I'll work on that, and it's gonna be ready tonight for publication tomorrow morning. But if your content is relevant for tonight, if your targeted audience is available at 7 o'clock because supper's done, the kids have all been baited, they're gone to sleep, and you have some time to engage in maybe more mind-boggling content, you should probably publish it by that moment. And it doesn't mean that people who only are gonna go on your platform tomorrow morning will miss this content. No, it's just that you've delivered it at a moment where the people you're trying to reach are available and open-minded about it. So this is one of the hard part. And on top of that, I would say too that because we come from print and from written press, we tend to use a lot of words and to write long pieces and think that every word that we're writing is extremely important. But when I was talking about humility, is that nowadays we have tools that allow us to measure the engagement of users from the title, from the headline up to the last word of the article, and we see that the more we're writing, the more users that we're losing. So at some point, it means that probably that we're wasting some of our content, so wasting some of our efforts, some of our time, because in the end, we're writing things that won't be read or read by only a handful of people. So we have, as content creators, as journalists, to make sure that we respect the availability and the time of the readers, and to deliver them content that will be suited to their availability. And sometimes it comes with a shorter article and maybe a video that will engage more the user than a written piece. Or maybe you should show it instead of describing it. In print, we had to describe things most of the time because there wasn't this opportunity of delivering more interactive content. On digital, you can create like interactive charts, and it will make the comprehension of the content much easier for people. So it all comes to these changes in habits and being open-minded about doing things differently.
Yes, always being a change agent, not being change adverse, for sure. All right, we did have one more question come in, and it is, how detrimental is it in this day and age to not have native mobile application, and where would this be in your list of priorities for an organization to do?
It's a good question. We could probably have decided to go with a full native app at first, but we wanted to make our transition to our new CMS on our new platforms as fast as possible. So that's why we made this compromise of using a web view app, which wasn't bad in itself. The biggest point was that before, our former app was a daily editions app. So in the morning, we were delivering an edition which was a bulk of content, just like a newspaper used to be. And it was extremely relevant between 6 and 7:30 in the morning. And after that, every new content wasn't necessarily highlighted in there. It was available, but wasn't highlighted in there. So we knew that anything that we would come up with to replace it wouldn't be up to the user's expectations, because their habits had to be changed in that order. For us, maintaining the daily edition in the mobile app wasn't sustainable either. I do think that it was preventing us to fully adopt a digital mindset. So what we did, I think we had the right approach, was deliver what was a minimum viable product, which allowed us to do what we had to do to keep on engaging the users. and then over time collect their ideas, collect their comments, build what we thought was like the next step, the next evolution for this mobile app. And that's what in the end we've delivered in the middle of this summer with our new fully native app.
Excellent. All right, thank you. And those are the questions that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the poll here. If you can just let us know how you found today's webinar. Marc, I want to say a special thank you to you. You've been a pleasure to work with throughout the preparation process for this, but then certainly what you shared today, very insightful, very innovative. It was great to hear what you and your organization are doing. So thank you all for attending. Feel free to just fill out the survey before you head out. We hope you have a great day. And thank you again for attending.